Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A Sahabi's willingness to give extra zakat. Hazrat Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu says, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once deputed me to collect zakat dues from a locality. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam deputed me to collect zakat dues from a locality. I went to a person there and asked about the details of his possessions. A camel calf, 1 year old, was due from him in zakat. So depending on the different types of wealth, different amounts are due. If a person has gold and silver, then they have to give 1/40th. If a person has camels or sheep or so on, then he has to give, different amounts. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam deputed exactly what those amounts are. If a person has business, merchandise, he has to give a certain amount of zakat from that. So this person came as a collector, and he looked at what the person's belongings were. He determined from the calculation that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had given him that he had to give, a camel calf, 1 year old. So then this person said, when he heard this, he exclaimed, "Of what use is a camel calf, 1 year old? You can neither milk it nor ride it. Here is a fine camel cow, a fully aged camel. You had better take this instead." I replied, "My commission does not permit me to take more than what is actually due from you. I therefore cannot accept what you offer. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is visiting this locality and will be camping at a place not very far from here. It is better that you should go and place your offer before Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not object, I will gladly accept your offer. Otherwise, you shall have to give me exactly what is due from you." Thereupon he took the camel cow to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "O Nabi of Allah, your envoy came to collect zakat from me. By Allah, before this I have never had the honor of presenting anything to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or his envoy." Look, for them it was an honor to spend in the path of Allah. "I therefore placed everything that I possess before him. He decided that a camel calf, 1 year old, was due from me. Now, O Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this camel calf is of no use. It can neither yield milk nor carry a load. I therefore pressed him to accept a fine camel cow instead, which he refused to accept without Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's permission. I have now come to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the camel cow." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam observed, "No doubt only that much is due from you, which he has worked out. But if you are willing to give more than that of your own accord, it will be accepted." I then presented the camel cow to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who accordingly accepted it and sought Allah's blessings for the donor. Look at what magnanimity of heart the Sahaba parted with their best things for the sake of Allah. On the other hand, we too claim to be the true followers of Islam and ardent devotees of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but leaving aside the bestowing of alms in general to the poor and the needy, we are most reluctant to pay the actual obligatory dues. Zakat is a pillar of Islam. Zakat as a pillar of Islam is not even known to our upper classes. Of the middle classes, only the religiously conscious keep up a form of paying zakat, inasmuch as even the expenditure incurred on their own relatives and acquaintances and all other charitable donations squeezed out of them by the force of circumstances and face saving are debited to the zakat account. When we consider how much zakat is, compared to our income taxes in this country, it's minimal. It's 2.5%. And this is a point that we mentioned at one point in one Jummah talk, that a person out of $500, he buys something for $500, he has to pay 15% tax on it. How much does that come up to? $75. Somebody's sharp on their maths. अच्छी बात है, अच्छी बात है. अच्छी खदीजा, आपको भी पता था. अच्छी बात है. All right, so it's $75. Now, how much a person who is paying $75. When we look at $1,000 of zakat, sorry, $1,000 of zakatable wealth, person has $1,000 of excess money. How much does he have to give from that? He has to give $25. 2.5%. So out of $3,000 of zakatable wealth, he has to give $75. Person who bought something for $500, GST TVQ, he paid $75 also. For GST TVQ, it does hurt a bit. There are people who try to weasel their way out of it, but we ultimately pay it. When it comes to zakat, we should have the honor we should be like the Sahabi, radiallahu anhu, who was honored to give zakat. Who was honored to give zakat. So this is on one hand, the one giving the zakat. And he did not, the person collecting the money, Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu, he just wanted to take exactly what was due. He didn't want to take more. He didn't want to take more. He said, look, just one baby camel is enough. That's what we're going to take. We're not going to take more. But this person, he had so much desire to give more that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, only that much is due. Whatever else you give, it's nafil, it's sadaqah, it's whatever, it's optional. But inshallah, you will be rewarded for it. Allah give us the same, love and desire to give in the path of Allah and to make our place in the akhirah. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: ليذكرن الله أقوام في الدنيا على الفرش الممهدة يدخلهم الله في الدرجات العلى. ابن حبان، رواه ابن حبان. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: ليذكرن الله أقوام في الدنيا على الفرش الممهدة يدخلهم الله في الدرجات العلى. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, there are many people who do dhikr of Almighty Allah while lying comfortably in their soft beds, and for this they will be rewarded with the highest positions in paradise by Almighty Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, there are many people who do dhikr of Almighty Allah while lying comfortably in their soft beds, and for this they will be rewarded with the highest positions in paradise by Almighty Allah. Generally, the greater the suffering and hardship one undergoes in the cause of religion, the higher will be his status in the hereafter. But the dhikr of Allah is such a blessed act that even if it is done in soft beds in this world, it will bring higher rewards and elevated positions in the hereafter. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had said, if you keep yourselves busy in dhikr all the time, the angels will shake hands with you in your beds as well as on your way. Who did he say this to?
The people who use it on bed.
Yaad hai? Yusuf, yaad hai? This was to Hanzala radiallahu anhu. Remember, he said Hanzala has become a munafiq. He said that to him. If you keep yourselves busy in dhikr, all the time the angels will shake hands with you in your beds as well as on your way. So once Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the Mufarrideen have gone far ahead. Who are the Mufarrideen? Inquired the Sahaba. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied, those who are intensely devoted to the dhikr of Allah. On the basis of this hadith, the Sufia have stated that the kings and rulers should not be prevented from dhikr of Allah, for they by this means can attain a lofty rank in the hereafter. Hazrat Abu Darda radiallahu anhu says, remember Almighty Allah during the time of prosperity and happiness, and it will help you in times of distress and trouble. Hazrat Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu said, if a person remembers Allah in times of peace, pleasure and prosperity, then whenever he is in trouble and difficulty, the angels being familiar with his voice recognize him in his helplessness and intercede before Almighty Allah for the removal of his difficulty and hardship. But if one does not remember Allah in his time of pleasure and happens to make dua for help at the time of difficulty, the angels find his voice to be quite unfamiliar and therefore do not intercede for him. Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, Paradise has 8 gates, one of which is exclusively reserved for those who are engaged in dhikr. Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, Paradise has 8 gates, one of which is exclusively reserved for those who are engaged in dhikr. It is said in a hadith, a person who constantly does dhikr of Allah is immune from hypocrisy in faith. And according to another hadith, he is loved by Almighty Allah. Once during a return journey, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, where are those who have gone ahead? The Sahaba said, the fast travelers have gone ahead. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, those who remain ahead are the persons who remain constantly absorbed in dhikr. Whoever desires to enjoy himself in paradise should do dhikr of Allah excessively. May Allah give us the tawfiq to keep on doing dhikr excessively. And dhikr is such a thing that is not difficult for a person to do. He can do it with, while leading his regular life. A person is at work, he can be doing the dhikr of Allah. Subhanallah, 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 La ilaha illallah, so on. It is not an obstacle. A person is driving, he's traveling somewhere, he's just doing his thing. So a person can be doing the dhikr of Allah at this time. A person is fasting, he's doing dhikr of Allah. And Allah has made it such that even the people in their beds, they will get high positions in Jannah, even though they're having pretty easy. In soft, comfortable beds, they're doing the dhikr of Allah. So if we're not doing dhikr, then we're the ones who are missing out. So may Allah give us the tawfiq to do the dhikr, to remember Allah. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to do, but it's a commitment. We have to accustom ourselves. And we have accustomed ourselves to talking about a lot of things. People, when they have, just any time, they're going to start talking about whatever's on their tongue. Whether it be politics, whether it be computers, whether it be phones, whether it be cars. They're going to talk, whatever's on their tongue, they'll just start talking about these things. May Allah make us from those people who remember Allah and who the mention of Allah is always on our tongues. Allah give us all this tawfiq. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. जी खदीजा, आपको सलाम करना है. यहाँ पे आइए, वेव करिए सब लोग को. अच्छा, अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाह.